So hello, welcome back to the league that means absolutely nothing here on Go Again Gaming, and I'm joined by Red Zone Rogue. How's it going?
How's it going? How's it going, everyone? Glad to be here on the league that means absolutely nothing.
That's right.
We're going to be casting some Flesh and Blood today. I actually don't know who the people are or what they're playing. So I don't know. It should be fun. Just good time, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go through the players in a moment, but I mean, there's been some great games this week. You would have seen some loads of good games on the league that means nothing. You would have seen Rhinar versus Rhinar. You would have seen Kassai V Azalea. You would have seen Olympia versus Phi. And today we've got Azalea versus Kassai. So a lot of Kassai this week. But I thought, what better way than to cast Azalea than bringing you on as well, a sort of fellow Ranger aficionado and someone that got to spoil a lot of Azalea early stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And we've got a couple of players obviously playing these heroes. We've got Florin Lochin, who's actually got quite a few credentials to his name. So he's played. He's got a calling trophy. He's got 2 top 8s. He's a Pro Tour finalist and a Battle Hardened finalist, and got 3 Nationals top 8s as well. And he's from Vienna in Austria. So Florin Lochin. I'm not sure if he's part of a team or something, but.
Yeah, nice to see him here in the highest stake event that he's ever played in.
Exactly. Brilliant. And a monumental lack of high stakes, but he's still getting involved for the love of Flesh and Blood, which is great. And then we've got... so he's playing Kassai, and then we've also got Carlotta from the Spanish Fabritorium channel. She's lovely. I met her at Worlds in Barcelona. Her partner actually played in the Flesh and Blood football event, which was nice, so it was good to meet him there. And she's playing Azalea. She's always played Azalea. Apart from that, her other favourite hero is Shiana, so good taste for Carlotta.
Nice. Yeah, it was like classic Flesh and Blood taste too.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, those two are going to be fighting today. So let's get straight down to the table and start the game. Cool. So we are here on the table, and as you can see, both players are all set up there. As you can see on the screen, you've got Azalea versus Kassai of the Golden Sand. And it looks like they're just ready to roll off to see who goes first on this. But what's your sort of initial thoughts right off the bat in this particular game, do you think?
All right, well, first of all, Carlotta's rocking the Lexi sleeve, so you absolutely love to see it as a Ranger fan. She also has Carlotta Praise Be, so you know she's all in on the Azalea love.
That's right.
With the playmat as well, so yeah, she also has a pretty standard loadout here, right? This is the classic Azalea loadout. You have your Skullbone, you have your tunic, your bullseye, and your snappies with the new bow. And then on Florin's side, you have my other girl, Kassai.
Yep.
And he's rocking somewhat of something, you know, he's got like a royal Kassai thing going on, right? That's the crown of royalty, if I do believe so.
That's right, because the gold's in play already.
With his gold piece, yeah. That makes a lot of sense, right? Because Kassai really wants to draw cards, get that cost reduction on her weapons.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Though, you know what? There is a little bit of a drawback wearing that sort of hat against Azalea. That's one more piece of equipment that you do not have to block with. And you know, getting those really powerful dominated attacks through is really what gets Azalea the tempo, especially if she can do something like a Red in the Ledger. So having one less piece of equipment to block with could be a big deal and could be a deciding factor in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kassai, I imagine, is going to want to go quite wide. And we're starting off with a Centauri Saber for 2 from Florin here. And obviously, to note, if this is blocked with an attack action, it will go up to a 3. So yeah, coming in for 2.
This is what I like to call like a naked saber, right? It doesn't have any buffs on it. It doesn't have go again right now. It's just kind of 2. And this is turn 1, so you know, as the defending player, you're pretty free to block here, right? Because you're just going to draw up at the end of turn.
Oh, we got a fatal engagement.
Nice little attack reaction here. Just a +2, right? So it's going to push in a couple points of damage. Gonna get that extra buff from Centauri Saber.
+3 on this one, so actually leaking 3 on the first turn. That's pretty good, yeah. You can only play it if it's an attack action card is blocked, which you did block with a bolt and shot. So yeah, leaking 3 on turn 1, pretty nice.
Yeah, that 2 became a 6. Yeah, because of the saber as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad. Pushing in a couple points of damage. I guess Carlotta really just wanted to keep the rest of the cards in her hand. Perhaps she has a pretty sweet hand.
Yeah, well, we will see what she's got first. But yeah, nice to see the Carlotta Praise Be being represented there. Thanks, Carlotta, for that. And a Seek and Destroy playmat also.
Oh yeah, you gotta love it. Seek and Destroy, personal favorite of mine, and the art is just really, really good. So we have a standard Death Dealer activation, slapping down another Bolt and Shot into the arsenal, and then drawing the card.
So she should have two floating here as well, because she's pitched a blue into that. So she should have 2 float. There it is. There's the dice. So yeah, Bolt and Shot's great. It's such an enabler. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Oh, here we go. So it's going to come in for 7, or at the moment at least. Premeditate as well. Okay then.
All right, this is going to be a pretty big Bolt and Shot unless she has some Azalea shenanigans. I imagine it's just the Bolt and Shot coming in. Is this a red Bolt and Shot?
It is, yeah. So it's coming in for 10.
For 10. That's 10 go again. That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
On hit reload. Still 2 floating, 1 card in hand. So, I mean, like, this is not... this could be a second attack, right? She could easily reload this card and fire another arrow. So if that's another, like, red arrow, for example, this could be, like, a 15 damage turn, which is nothing. Pretty solid.
Yeah. Oh, cheers, Carlotta, for putting the dice up as well. So that helps us a lot. But the Valiant Dynamos.
Early block with the equipment. The Dynamo makes a lot of sense, right? Because you want to get use of its ability to kind of refresh itself.
Well, cool. We got that.
We have a D-React.
That all you got. So it's not going to draw from the effect, but it's still blocking 3 in this situation, and it's a yellow as well. So Kassai cares about yellows for the banish effect to get the gold swinging thing. So I guess that's probably why she's running the yellow D-React instead.
Yeah, I think she's pretty happy with this though, right? Got him to block with like almost his entire hand, plus a piece of equipment. Though, albeit the Dynamo does put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
He's able to set up an arsenal card for the next turn. Here we just have another Naked Saber, but once again, as we saw with turn 1, you can't. You got to respect the Naked Saber. There's always attack reacts coming in from the Warrior. There's a lot of good attack reacts from the most recent set, Heavy Hitters. So, there's a lot of options here. Potential go again, potential big old pumps, and everything in between.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see whether Carlotta respects this or not, because Azalea with a 5-card hand and a setup for the skull bone and everything else is very dangerous. Also, there is a Blade Runner to give that go again, so then the next Saber's going to come in for 5 after this. So she's just going to take this too. Fair enough. And then we got a 5 after this. I don't think she's going to block this either, to be honest.
It's like 5. Florin has no cards in hand, no on hits. It's just raw damage.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, this isn't exactly like a Dorinthia thing where if you let them both hit, they get a counter. This is just 5.
Yeah. There's
nothing.
Exactly. There's no incremental value, is there? There's no grains of blood spill. There's nothing floating that you can put into anything. So this is just another raw 5. So if Azalea has 5-card hand and interaction on the next turn to maybe stop Florin's follow-up, this might be worth just taking 5, but she is playing with some cards here, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're Carlotta here, you're just thinking, like, okay, what can I maximize? Like, what can I get away with blocking with right now to maximize my turn, right? Like, what's my extra cards? What card do I not need? And she's like, okay, I don't need this, sleep dart. Yeah.
So
she's still keeping a 3-card hand, 1 in arsenal, and she has everything up and ready to go. Notable Tunic's not active right now, but we do have a Skullbone activation. I imagine we're going to see that a lot this game.
That's good. So Bolt and Shot in the arsenal is always good.
Shot.
It's always good in the arsenal because it means you can buff it, fire it, and then still activate Death Dealer to grab something else and draw a card. So Bolt and Shot in the arsenal to start is always lovely with Azalea.
Yeah, let's see if the top card is relevant. If it's a big old arrow, she can definitely activate Azalea, get that dominate. Depending on the pumps in her hand, have a pretty sweet turn. Notably against Kassai, Red in the Ledger is pretty brutal, right? Kassai really wants to go wide and do multiple attacks, play multiple cards. Though I mean, like 1 sword plus a bunch of attack reactions can get around that, but it's all like hand dependent.
Yeah. But I mean, I think she might want to just. Oh, it's a raw Bolt and Shot, so there's got to be there's got to be a Rain Razors behind this then, surely. There's got to be some sort of shenanigans here.
Yeah, just a raw Bolton shot. This is a red one. Notably, this is our second red Bolton shot, so she still only has one more left in her deck. This is pretty early on. We are playing CC, so Florin just has to keep note of this, right? He's like, okay, this is the second red Bolton shot. There's only one more in the deck.
Yep.
Just the things you have to note when playing Flesh and Blood. And does she have...
It looks like it.
The shower of arrows. We're gonna have another block with the Valiant Dynamo. Like I mentioned, this card puts in a lot of work. The Valiant Dynamo is a house.
Does indeed, and obviously it got his counter back last turn because he swung twice, didn't he? So he already blocked of it already. So it's already blocked for 2 already over the course of this game. So
yeah, I mean, like, it's so good in Kassai. Kassai, with her like cost reduction on her swords too, it's just really easy to attack multiple times with her weapons.
Yeah.
Unlike Dorinthia, where the Dawnblade has to hit, this one you just, as long as you get go again, you can come on in with both of them. Looks like he's definitely going to respect this, tossing in 2 pieces of equipment and a card from hand.
So that's 6.
So we have the gloves coming in. Yeah.
So he's preventing the Bolton Shot reload effect, but what's great about this is the fact that she hasn't used Death Dealer yet because Bolton Shot started in the arsenal, so she can still activate Death Dealer, get something else in there, maybe float resources, and then fire something else, which will have the Rain Razors buff behind it as well. That's why Bolton Shot is so good to start with, and that's exactly what she's going to be doing now. So floating 1 from Codex. Well, she actually drew a card there before putting the Remorseless in, by the looks of it, but sequencing is a thing. But yeah, Seek and Destroy, and now a Remorseless for 10, I think, with the Rain Razors behind it.
Yeah, it's going to be 5, 7, 10. Pretty good. Remorseless for 10 has a really, really nice on-hit effect, right? And notably, this just says defense reactions can't be played from Arsenal. Wasn't put in face up, so... Or was not put in face up, right? Because Death Dealer puts it in face down.
No, it's put in face up and you draw, but he doesn't have any doesn't have any cards in his arsenal anyway, so it's fine. But the Seek and Destroy on hit is very relevant. It prevents him from arsenaling next turn, which is great because Azalea can snowball then because she's drawing lots of cards, and that card advantage is pretty good. But what is going on here? So
yeah, the on hit from it is also not the most relevant against Kassai because it only caused him to lose life on action cards.
That's right.
And if he's just doing attacks and reactions with a weapon, doesn't really do all that much. So he's just going to block with a Glint the Quicksilver here.
Yeah.
So just absorbing 3. So, I mean, this is 7, right?
7 with the Seek and Destroy on hit. The Remorseless on hit is probably not going to matter too much, but... yeah, the Seek and Destroy is good.
It could if he's got, like, depends on, like, if they're running, like, hit and run or something like that.
Yeah.
But likely not.
But yeah,
I'm not 100% familiar with, like, the new age Kassai decks. I don't know how many, like, non-attacks versus attack reactions. There's a couple, like, decent non-attacks in Warrior history. Oh, we do have an action here, so he's going to lose 1 life from this. So, you know what? That's 1 damage from the Remorseless. Yeah. This is Nourishing Emptiness. No attacks in the bin, so this is going to be dominated and have that +1 intellect on hit. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and it's a great card in this new Kassai because obviously it's a red attack action that you can actually banish with her own ability. So you can make sure that, as long as your hand composition allows you to do so, you can actually banish the other nourishings to activate Kassai, which means the other nourishings that you have in your deck will still be turned on, which is very good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big fan of this new Kassai. I think she's incredibly strong. And it looks like Carlotta is just gonna no block it. I mean, like, it has Dominate, right? And it's not exactly like she has a lot of, heavy blocking equipment. So instead of just blocking with a card, from hand and still taking the damage, she's just gonna take the full and keep a big hand, which makes a lot of sense.
And the great thing about this as well is that obviously the Nourishing effectively cancels out the Seek and Destroy because Florin's still going to have access to 5 cards now because of the on-hit. He hasn't been able to arsenal a card because of Seek and Destroy, but he's still able to draw up to 5. So he's actually navigated that on-hit fairly well with drawing into that as well, which is quite good.
Yeah, Nourishing is just a very, very sweet card.
Yeah.
Having a 5-card hand is also very scary, but... Carlotta also has a 4-card hand going into her turn and a Tunic activation and snapdragons and her bullseye. So like, depending on what she has, she could have a massive turn and help mitigate that five card hand from Florin.
And that's exactly what she's doing. She's using the tunic this turn to basically just draw a card off of Death Dealer, which is a very strong line when you get to that 3 tunic.
Yeah, basically free arsenal, free draw. It's pretty sweet. I think that's one of the reasons why Azalea is like so strong. Ooh, this is a really good card to put in your arsenal. Though it won't be dominated unless she has some shenanigans here. But I mean, if she can pump it up significantly and get that on hit through, it's just really, really nasty. And even if she doesn't get the on hit through, it's going to force a lot of blocks because she wants to make it so he can only have one action, and so he can't come in with both of his weapons.
Yeah, and it's a funny card to also follow up with after a Nourishing, because obviously Florin's got a load of cards in his hand and he wants to take advantage of the fact that he's got loads of cards in his hand, but what's coming back at it now is a huge red in the ledger, so he can't actually he can't make use of that Nourishing hand because he's got this to deal.
Minimum 11 here. Yeah, pretty.
Yeah. So
depends on us. She's also played another Seek and Destroy and a Lace with Inertia. So this Red in the Ledger is just gonna have a bunch of on hits, stacked on it. Notably, Florin has blocked with some armor already. I mentioned at the start that he doesn't have a hat that can block, so he has 2 pieces of equipment that can block 1, and then he has his chest piece as well, and then 5 cards in hand. So he's heavily incentivized to block with a lot of cards this turn, and perhaps that Nourishing Emptiness was beneficial in that it gives him more cards to block with on this turn rather than more cards to attack with, right? This is going to be a turn where he can actually leverage those extra cards because this Red in the Ledger does not have Dominate, so he can, throw those right in front of it to mitigate this damage and possibly block it all out, right?
Yeah. 5 cards is what, if everything mounts up to 3, you can block with maybe a piece of armor as well. You can maybe do something next turn afterwards, which is obviously Nourishing's pretty good offensively and defensively here. So yeah, he's blocking with 2 plus the grains, which I believe is 8 currently.
Yeah. I wonder if he has a reaction.
There it is.
Have a reaction.
Another that all you got.
Yeah. That all you got? Yeah, I like that all you got in this deck. It's not particularly good against Azalea. It feels like a card that you tech in against like ninjas and that kind of stuff, but it's still a D-React, and the D-Reacts will be good against Azalea, especially if you do it against a Dominate. Or just, it's just an extra little card here just to cover up all that damage. Florin still has, 2 cards in hand? Because he blocked with 3 from hand plus a piece of equipment. Notably, the next time he blocks with that chest piece, it is destroyed. It does have temper. Gorganian Tome. All right, yeah. I mean, Gorganian Tome makes a lot of sense in the deck as well. Playing the Gorganian Tome, drawing a card is going to make all of the swords cost 1 less, so his sword attacks are free for this turn.
That's
so
right.
If he has to go again, he's just got 2 free sword attacks.
Yeah.
He's counting the... Oh no, he's going to activate Kassai's ability.
Here we go. As we said earlier,
Yeah.
that he's banishing that Nourishing, which means if he's got other Nourishings, they're also going to be turned on, and the That All You Got have also been banished as well. So, yep, the first time something hits, he gets the gold, isn't it? The next weapon, next time. Yeah.
Ooh, Slice and Dice. So we are running some just action cards here. So Slice and Dice is going to pump up the Saber here, coming in for 3. 3 is kind of an annoying block or annoying attack with the Centauri Saber against Azalea because a lot of your 3 blocks in Azalea are going to be attack actions. So if you block with an attack action, it's going to get that +1 with the Saber and just kind of go over the top anyway.
Yeah.
And then of course we have the Kassai effect, the on hit to get that gold. So it's, like I said, it's just kind of an annoying attack. If you're Carlotta here, you might just be considering taking it, but you can't keep taking it because you're slowly getting whittled down. Life totals are still pretty close right now. This is CC, so there's a lot of game left to be had. But it's those kind of decisions throughout the course of a game where if you take too much damage here or there, it will add up definitely over time.
Oh yeah. And this sword does not have go again, right? At the moment.
Currently, it does not. But Florin still has cards in hand, so I mean, we've already seen a Blade Runner, so we can definitely see, another Blade Runner. That'd be the perfect card to play, right? So you'd Blade Runner this, and then pump up the next sword attack, which is free, and then you have the Slice and Dice, as well. Yeah, I think this is
Oh,
there's
there
a
it
good chance
is.
this has go again. Yep.
Yeah.
So I actually like the no block here because Glint will not have reprise, so he doesn't get a draw card.
Yep.
So it's just pushing the 3 damage through.
Pushing 3 damage.
We'll get that gold token.
And this one's coming in for 5 because it's buffed up by +3 on the slicing dice. So yeah, another saber, which I imagine Carlotta's not going to block. I don't think.
Yeah, if you took the first one, I think you just take this one.
Yeah.
Like this one doesn't have the on hit effect. But I mean, like, you're playing against Warrior, so like one of the things that she could have considered for that first attack is exactly that situation, right? She could have been thinking, okay, he's just coming in with no go again. If he has Glint the Quicksilver and I don't block here, then he won't get a draw card, and that's definitely something that you would consider. That's not just a random thing, especially people who know the Warrior matchup. Glint the Quicksilver is just something you always have to think about if they're coming in with like a naked weapon.
It is, yeah. And I keep forgetting it can be played in any Warrior deck, even though it's like got a Dorinthia piece of art on it. I keep forgetting it can be played in anything.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's one of the things like about early Warrior that you gotta think about with all the reprise stuff. You don't see a lot of the reprise these days. You have the Glint and you have stuff like the route, but
that's right.
There's a lot of new age Warrior tech that doesn't use it. Yeah, so like you said, just gonna take it on the chin. Makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Going into this with a 5-card hand, essentially 4 in hand, 1 in arsenal. Still has her full equipment suite, so she has a lot of like burst potential.
Yeah, and I believe the counter should be coming off the dynamos as well that turn. So I'm not sure whether Florin's missed that at all, but that should have happened because he swung twice. But yeah, we've got the Skullbone coming up here, revealing a Remorseless. I'm having a look at the top card.
All right, Remorseless. I mean, like we saw him play we saw Florin play a couple attack actions. Actions. We did see one attack action. So the on hit from Remorseless isn't nothing, right? It's not as powerful as something like Red in the Ledger. Ooh, we have a Ravenous Rabble here. So she knows what the top card of her deck is because she got to look at it with the Skullbone, and that was a tome. So this is going to be a Rabble for 3.
That's right. Yeah. With the cross wrap, she put something to the bottom. So this Ravenous Rabble is actually another new piece of information, which is why
I missed that.
Yeah, that's why it's so good in this deck, because it just reveals the top card, allows you to potentially Azalea or reveal things. But yeah, Florin's just going to take this 3, go down to 29 off the Ravenous Rabble.
I thought she had put it back on top. That's my bad.
But yeah,
so she does know she has the. She does know that she has that Codex coming up. Codex is interesting in this matchup. I'm curious to see if she plays it after drawing it at the end of this turn.
Yeah, she can still play Death Dealer, put an arrow in, draw the Codex, maybe give the arrows, maybe give this Remorseless Snapdragons to give it go again, and then still load something afterwards, draw the Codex and play it. It seems pretty good, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, she can draw the Codex, play the Codex, get like something like Red in the Ledger back.
Yeah, so
she
can go pretty wide, and I think she probably want to use those resources, so I imagine this could be snappied, this Remorseless, because she wants to use those resources for Death Dealer, or even Bullseye Brazers if she really wants to overextend. This could be the turn to do that, because she can still draw a card off of Death Dealer, so I imagine this will be Snappy's use.
Yeah, if you're Florin here, you also got to be thinking about, like, she revealed the tome, so he knows it's on the top of the deck, so he's got to think about,
exactly.
Okay, if I respect the tome, then I have to think about what can be coming out from her graveyard, right? So maybe I'm going to save cards to block something like a Red in the Ledger, where instead, I can take the hit from this Remorseless and then save my cards to block the Red in the Ledger, which it seems like that might be what he's doing.
Yeah, because she has used that Snapdragon Scalers on the Remorseless, so now she's going to be activating Death Dealer by the looks of it. Yep, nice.
All right, let's see what she puts in her arsenal.
Infecting Shot.
So, all right, so Infecting Shot. She is going to draw that tome. Remember, she can always do the Azalea Dunk, like the Blind Azalea. So she can Blind Azalea that and hopefully maybe get like a non-attack pump. so she could then play the tome. But it looks like she's just gonna infecting shot.
Yeah, which is fair enough. It's still 7 damage, basically, isn't it? Essentially, with the blood rot on the back of it. Just maybe wanting to keep the codex in hand, perhaps for next time, because that is a very powerful card. But
I'm curious what the other card in her hand is. If it's probably not a pump card. So if I'm Florin, I gotta be thinking this. Like, it's probably not a pump card, because if it was a pump card, she probably would have played it, then played the infecting shot. So it's very likely an arrow or another, like, tome or something like that, or another codex, something that is not a pump. If that's the case too, that means she's gonna only be able to arsenal one of these cards.
Yeah.
Which is, not exactly making the full use out of her hand.
Cool. I think he's just getting out the Katsu sleeve to signify the blood rot pox under his control.
Yeah. So it's a little scary, right? If you're Carlotta, he's just taking the damage, not blocking. So he's going to have a full hand, right? And Kassai can push a lot of damage through, especially when he has the gold on board. So he can gold, draw some cards, and then make all of his swords for free. He has, like, his full equipment load. And as you mentioned, that the Dynamo should have that counter removed.
Yeah, I believe so. We'll see how much impact that makes if he has that one block.
I mean, like, I was thinking about the Frailty for that turn. I guess it's still pretty good to save for later, but Frailty is quite strong against Kassai because it will debuff all of the weapon attacks, right? Which is, pretty good when the 2 attack weapons are coming in for 1 instead.
Absolutely. Of course, he's pitching a emboldened blade. I think that's a new one. I think it was last set actually. An expansion slot card to come in with a Centauri for 2 naked saber.
Yeah, naked saber coming on in. So she's got to know that he's got some sort of reaction to give this go again. And so once again, this is a situation where you have to think. You're like, okay, do I want to block this and potentially risk them doing a glint to draw a card, or do I just let this come on in? It's only coming in for 2, right? So it's not the most threatening.
Yeah.
She's considering, though. She is considering.
I think she was just checking the remorseless and the infecting shot are still on the board just to remind of the triggers. I believe they're not actually cards that are blocking; they're just reminders for the triggers. But yeah, thinking hard about this 2, potentially 3 if she blocks with an attack action.
Yeah, you always got to think about warriors. They have reprise, attack reactions. Like, playing against warriors is always tricky. It's one of the classes that I really like to teach to new players because it really, really forces players to learn the reaction step. That's kind of like where warriors, play around the best in, and you have to really think. Do they have it? I mean, he's got 3 cards still in hand. He definitely has something. The saber is just coming in for 2. I almost called it a Dawn Blade. Good. It's so Dory pilled, but all right. It looks like she's gonna respect it. She's blocking for 3. It's gonna get +1. It's still gonna block it all out unless we have a damage pump.
Okay, she's going to be using one of the floating resources to play a reaction of some kind. It is a Blade Runner.
Yeah. Yep, Blade Runner. Makes a lot of sense. Has go again, and it's going to pump the next saber. Blade Runner is just an incredibly powerful card.
Yeah.
And so now we have a saber for 5.
Yeah, and obviously that's one of the staple cards in the Kassai Blitz, Kassai Centauri Sellsword Blitz deck back in the day when that was legal. Blade Runner.
Yeah. It's just a really sick card. I even really like the blue Blade Runners, honestly.
Yeah.
Ooh, we have another reaction in the swing. This is a huge pump here for 0. So, yeah coming in for, get that +3. Nice. Coming in for 8.
Wow. So, she's just taking the 8, going down to 10. Wow, okay. All right.
Yeah. Back and forth here.
Warriors do have, there's a lot of those zero cost conditional +3s, isn't there? We saw a few of them in the new set with the play this for zero. I think it's one of my favourite cards, actually, the one that says +3 for zero only if you've wagered. That's thanks for tagging that thing on Twitter. That's ridiculous. I want to see that Olympia 9-0 deck.
Yeah, the 9-0 Olympia deck. Yeah.
Give it to me.
And there's some really great cards from heavy hitters for Kassai. There's the one that I spoiled. Shift the Tide of Battle. That's a Gilligan type card. There's also the what is it called? I forget, like the double swing or double cleave. The one that lets you
Blade Flurry.
Yeah, +2 and then +2 on the next one. Super good in Kassai.
That's very good. Cool. So she put the Codex there in her arsenal, and she's obviously using Crosswrap now to flip it up to have a look at the top card, and it looks like she's leaving it there for an Azalea activation because she does have the hands on the Azalea right now. So this seems promising. I think honestly that's what she needs. She needs like some form of big interactive arrow because the life lead is getting a bit scary with Florin on 17 and obviously a 5-card hand.
Yeah, I mean she does have a Red in the Ledger in her bin. So depending on what she has in her hand, she could like Codex back a Red in the Ledger, give it a nice little pump, and then send it on in. That would also give Florin a Frailty and give Carlotta a Ponder. And Frailty, like I said, is really, really good against Warrior, especially Kassai.
Very true, yeah. So you can still access all of those arrows that she's already fired, plus debuff Florin's next turn, so that could be the play, depending on what she's seen on top here. And that's probably what she's thinking about right now, is whether to get the Codex value or the Dominate value. But it looks like she's going for the Azalea.
Yeah, so she's going to dominate. Let's see what we have on top. Yeah, like you mentioned, we need a really strong on-hit here, or something that she can get. It is Red in the Ledger. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So she's like, okay, I'm going to opt for the Dominate Red in the Ledger instead of the Frailty. Ooh, and here we have Premeditate, so we can still get that Ponder action. And then pitching a Red in the Ledger. All right, well, hey, if you're Florin, you're like, here's all 3 Red in the Ledgers, right? 1 in pitch zone, 1 in graveyard, 1 on the attack chain. So this is going to be 8 Dominate. Which is quite good. If he has a card, if he has a D-React in Arsenal, this could be easily covered up, but if not, then this is going to be pretty tough, right? He did finally remove that counter from his Dynamo, so Dynamo will be blocking for 2. He has 4 block from equipment, plus 3 from hand, so that's only 7, unless he has a D-React as well. Cool. Let's see if that card in Arsenal is in fact a D-React. We have seen him play a couple. So no, this is going to push the damage through. This is pretty sweet. So Premeditate activates as well as Red in the Ledger. So only 1 action next turn, only 1 sword, no matter what. Depending on Florin's hand, that could be good or bad because you have these turns where you can go wide or you have the turns where you can just go tall. So if he has a lot of reactions that pump, then it might not matter. But if he has a lot of reactions that do go again, it will definitely matter.
Yeah, so it just depends on what his hand composition is like. If you've got a lot of reactions, you can still just come back with a very deadly, because Carlotta's on 10 life, Kassai can easily react over the top of that. But
it depends on the reactions, though. Like I said, a lot of the reactions are just like go again, like Glint the Quicksilver, Blade Runner, which won't really do anything. So they have to be the type of reactions that pump. And as we saw with like the double swing, a lot of them require you to attack twice. So yeah, it's a catch-22 kind of situation here. Like, it might be good, it might not be good. Yeah, see what.
Another nourishing, interesting.
Well, that's kind of like the best case here, right? Instead of just coming in with a little wimpy sword, he's coming in with the 6 Dominate, threatening to draw an extra card and threatening a really big turn.
It's just an interesting polarity between the two. You're getting shot with a Red in the Ledger. Okay, you take the damage, but you've got a nourishing to swing back with, which actually increases your intellect. So that's like probably the best counterplay to Red in the Ledger is a nourishing.
Yeah.
In his deck.
I mean that's exactly what he needed. That was I think that's like probably the best follow up that he could have to a Red in the Ledger, other than just a Centauri plus a whole bunch of react pumps.
Yeah.
And Carlotta, I mean, mentioned this earlier. Her equipment doesn't block for squat. There's no way she can block this out unless she has a D-React, which is very unlikely, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Do we know the deck? Like, does she have something like Red in the Ledger? I mean, Sync Below? Because I have seen some Azalea lists run Sync, but I've also seen them not and go like all aggro.
Yeah, I've seen a few. I'm not sure if I've got the deck list actually. If I do, there'll be a link in the description box below. But yeah, you're right. There isn't many D-Reacts. I've seen a few, but not that many.
Yeah, like I can only think of like some run Sync Below, some might run the opt one just because it helps set up your next turn, but I don't think they're super likely.
No. But
she only has 2 block on her equipment, so she can't even throw in her equipment and then do a 3 block from hand. She needs a 4 block from hand to cover it up, or she can just be like, hey, I guess I'll toss in one of the cards to help just mitigate the damage. He's gonna get the on hit either way, which is scary because once again, drawing the extra card can be used offensively, but it can also be used defensively as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it all depends once again on whether or not she can set up a dominated arrow here.
But
Lauren is at 12.
She is taking it all. That's going to 4 against a warrior.
I mean, I don't hate this either. It's like she's gonna take the on hit no matter what, and so she's got to be thinking, okay, can I come back and bring him down to a point where he has to use most of the cards from his hand? Risk dying so he can't clap me back. Like, she basically needs to threaten lethal here, and she needs to take a whole bunch of cards from his hand so he can't come back and kill her. And that's probably what she was thinking about, if I had to guess. Being able to take it on the chin because you can't block it out anyway, and then keep the maximum hand to basically mitigate your opponent's next turn. Well, and this is a good way to start. Yeah. This is a good way to go wide.
She's going to be able to go wide. Absolutely. She's going to be able to follow up with a bolt and shot as well, and then do something else afterwards, potentially, if she has a buff. So yeah, 4 go again.
This is 4. So we know the top card of her deck is a drill shot. There's a red drill shot, which is actually like pretty good against Kassai. Like, getting that on hit is like not bad at all. Like, but just debuffing his equipment, it's like a virtual 1 extra point of damage.
Yeah, I mean,
especially on one of the equipment, so that doesn't get their counters back.
And what does he have equipment block? He has 3 block at the moment on equipment with because
he's got 4 technically if he wants to throw in his tunic or in his chest piece, right?
I think that's already got a counter on it though.
Doesn't it block for 2 and have temper? I don't remember. It's a newer card.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It blocks 2 and has. I think it blocks 2 and has temper, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
But yeah,
but
4.
I don't remember any of the cards from heavy hitters having battle worn, but definitely has 2 block from the boots. Or he's got 1. Okay, he's just gonna take it anyway.
Yeah,
it's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. Oh, okay.
Ooh. Not a nice one. All right, so as the Azalea player in this situation, what do you go get? She cannot get. Oh no, she did pitch a red in the ledger, so she can get red in the ledger. That's what she's gonna get. Okay, yes, the one she just pitched.
That's probably the most value, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, seeing how he drew an extra card, limiting the action points next turn is going to be really, really important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nourishing is the red in the ledger is the counter to nourishing, and nourishing is the counter to red in the ledger. So it's an interesting dichotomy as to what's going on here between these 2 cards. I think she's now just asking him how they want to cut, I imagine.
Oh, that's funny. I've never seen this before.
Just absolutely sportsmanlike.
I mean, I guess this is a way you can cut on a webcam game to still give your opponent some agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. All right.
It's the Spanish. The Spanish are completely and utterly very sportsmanship is a big thing. But the red in the ledger is going on top.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. That's cool. I mean, not the Red and Ledger going on top, but that cut. But also the Red and Ledger going on top.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's cool for Carlotta. Probably not great for Florin. Definitely not what he wanted to see. And this is going to be dominated, of course, because you get the Azalea activation. That's what Knock the Death Whistle does best. Ooh. This is just my spoiler cards just coming out left and right. So you have Knock the Death Whistle and Seek and Destroy.
Nice.
Oh, you love to see it, man.
So 8
and
dominate.
Then the Red and Ledger. Pretty good. Pretty nice.
8 dominate as well, and if it hits, he has to get rid of all the cards that he's just drew at the end of his turn with the Seek and Destroy trigger.
Yeah.
And no
I mean,
Arsenal.
this is lethal too. So he can't just, he has to block with something, either equipment or a card from hand. But you gotta do something, and I don't think he can block it out right without a D-react. Once again, I think we're in the same situation, right? It's coming in for 8, so you need at least a D-react to do this, like the D-react in Arsenal, or I guess a 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1 and 4 in hand would work too. But we haven't seen any 4 D-reacts. We've only seen that all you got.
No, I think Kassai runs. I've seen a few Kassais run Steelblade Shunt, but I don't know.
Okay, yeah, Shunt would be good.
Yeah.
Shunt's a red one's a block 6.
But we'll see if he's got that sort of stuff. But yeah, this is deadly.
Yeah, I can see some running the red sync as well. Definitely considering blocking with at least 1 card from hand.
And
Interesting.
Considering it's the league that means absolutely nothing, both players are really bringing their game to the table here.
Yeah, this is actually quite close. I mean, Carlotta is at 4. All right, so he's going to block. I do think this is a 3 block, if I remember right.
Yes.
So he's going to end up taking 5 from this, going down to 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have 3 to 4, but we do have 2 on hits from this. We have the Red and the Ledger on hit, and then we have the Seek and Destroy on hit. So that's going to debuff Florin's turn potentially, to a considerable degree. Once again, it all depends on what is in Florin's hand. If he has a lot of just like unconditional reaction pumps, then that could be great. If he has just go again reactions or pumps off a double, like 2 attacks, then it could be like not great. And if that's the case, that's great for Carlotta. If Florin has just a bunch of unconditional pumps, great for him. Which is why I think this match is actually a really interesting matchup here.
Yeah, because Red and the Ledger sometimes just doesn't matter against Warrior because they can just react things. But if they can, if the reactions are giving the Sabres go again, that's also Red and the Ledger's affecting that. But he's just going to raise an army here. Interesting.
All right, yeah, this is just a pure setup then. He's just gonna raise an army, get 2 of his Centauri Sellswords. They cannot attack because he used his 1 action to get those dudes. But he is setting up for a bigger attack, and Carlotta basically is going to be ignoring those. Like, if you are Azalea, your opponent's at 3, you want to kill them. You don't want to waste your time attacking into those Centauri Sellswords. So she has a 4-card hand, dude. 4-card hand, 1 in Arsenal. If she can dominate this, Florin's at 3. Like,
I think
this could be it.
This is it. Oh, okay.
Ooh, interesting.
Another thing as well is that she hasn't used the bullseye braces yet either. So she's also got another instance of load a card in as well. And if that's a bolt and shot, that's a good starter. But Rain Roses is a nice one to see.
Yeah, I mean, she can just fire off Rain Razors from Arsenal and then proceed from there, depending on what she's got in hand.
But if she's got to dominate here, she might just win, I think, because Florin can only block for 3. She's got 1 block on the Grains, 1 block on the Braveforge, 1 block on the Boots, so that's 3. Then if we presume that he's got another 3 block in hand, that's 6. So she needs to do 9 damage to him this turn, dominated.
Like, I was thinking, like, she can also just do a crap load of damage if she has multiple... Since she has Rain Razors, if she has multiple Bolton shots, she can go super, super wide here.
Yep.
So she's going to pitch an infecting shot. See, the interesting thing about this is Death Dealer makes you draw a card. So if the card on the top of her deck is a card that she wants to dominate, she should use the bullseye bracers instead of the bow first. Because if she uses the bow first, then she's going to draw that card that's on top of the deck.
Yeah, but that's also the great thing about Azalea these days is that you got so many lines active to you. So if that's a buff on top, she can actually access that to play with no arsenal. Which is just great because she's already got Rain Razors as well, so she could push that up to the 9 that she needs to dominate. But I don't know if she can get the dominate. We'll see. Maybe if she's got another knock the death whistle, she can go search for a 0 cost arrow.
Another knock would be kind of nutty.
Yeah. But yeah, she's still resolving the Death Dealer at the moment. But yeah, this is game time. If she can find the right things, I think she could get this.
Yeah, and if, on Florin's side, if Florin can somehow weather the storm here, he has 2 Centauri Cell Swords, so he can have an insanely wide turn potentially coming in with both Cell Swords and the Sabers, and that would probably be enough to threaten Carlotta's life total. So it looks like she's going to drop an Affecting Shot into the arsenal and draw the card from the top. What is
there it is.
Oh!
Okay. All right.
So
Searing Shot.
Knock the Death Whistle.
Searing Shot, I reckon. There.
Yep. Searing Shot. 0 cost 4 on hit deals an extra point of damage. And then it's going to be dominated for sure from Red in the Ledger. It's going to be 6 dominated. So
if she has one more buff,
have other pumps.
If she does,
what's in her hand? If it's 2 arrows, that's kind of rough actually. But if it's at least 1 pump, that's pretty sweet. She has played a lot of pumps. Notably, she has played multiple Seek and Destroys. She has played multiple Premeditations. So she has played a decent amount this game so far. But she still has definitely some in her deck.
Yeah.
And here we have what I'm going to call the sportsman cut.
Okay, Carlotta, do you have a pump? Please have a pump. Azalea, so the Searing Shot's coming in with Dominate.
Yeah, notably, Florin still has 3 pieces. He's got equipment to block with, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There we
go.
I think this is it.
Lace with Frailty. He has no card in Arsenal, right?
Nope.
All right, yeah, unless he's got like a Steel Blade Shunt or something. This looks like it might be game. So this is 9 dominate on hit, deal an extra point of damage. So even if it deals 2 points of damage, that is lethal.
Yeah, you can only block for 1. You can only block for 3 there. He's dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's got 3 plus his equipment, but that's not enough. Dude, I mean, that's brutal. That's exactly what Azalea does. I've played against you enough where I was in a situation similar where I'm just like, yeah, I mean, if you got the pumps, I'm dead, right? That's what Azalea does.
Wow.
And she still had her bullseye bracers and other options too. Azalea is definitely a powerhouse in the game.
Cool. So that was a really, really interesting game. It seemed like Florin had a lot of the gas early on because the life lead was quite substantial, and he kept finding the nourishings as well to counteract the red in the ledgers. But then Carlotta just managed to come back into it and find the red in the ledgers at the right time to disrupt the nourishings. So I think that was quite an interesting thing going on there.
Yeah. See, she was able to basically just keep 4 and 5-ish card hands turn after turn, and then clap back with relevant on-hit effects, multiple red in the ledgers we saw, and that's really what Azalea does best. It's really tough to race her because she can deal a lot of damage while also limit what the opponent is doing at the same time. Yeah. I found playing against Azalea a lot, you really need to threaten her hand, and unfortunately, Kassai can push a lot of damage, but Kassai really doesn't have any, hand threatening or even arsenal threatening stuff like some other classes might. So yeah, it was almost a straight race. You saw big swings back and forth, but Azalea's disruption was able to get there. Disruption plus evasion is pretty solid. One of the reasons why Azalea is, crazily enough, if you told me this a year ago, I would not have believed it, one of the best heroes in the entire game. So
she's pretty good.
And as you mentioned, Florin knows what he's doing. He's got victories under his belt. And I think that just proves how skilled Carlotta is, as well as how powerful Azalea is. So congratulations to Carlotta for taking the win. Even though it doesn't mean anything because this league doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
But it's still cool, and still congratulations.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for coming on and playing the league that means nothing, Carlotta. It means a lot to us, and yeah, I mean, Florin did have things like commanding performance in his deck. You know, that's a new card that interacts with Arsenal's. We saw him block with it at the very end there.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Which is a bit of a shame that you couldn't get any of those off, but it was great to see Azalea win. Praise be. And thanks for coming on and helping me host this game. And I'm sure we'll see you hopefully back on to cast some more as the weeks go on. But
yeah, of course.
But yeah, that was great. So you would have seen all the feature matches at this point for this week, and we'll be back to do it all over again next week. There might also be another game coming out, which I'm editing at the moment, but I might just do a voiceover for that on my own. We'll see. What was you going to say?
No, I'm just I'm mugging for the camera while you talk.
Oh, nice. But yeah, I'm editing a video right now actually, which is Kassai versus Teklo match. So that was very interesting how that played out. That was Hank versus Andrew.
So I'm just gonna mention that to me, that seems tough for Teklo because he notably doesn't really have any arcane barrier.
Yeah.
Unless he's got some weird shenanigans, Aether Sync or something in the deck. So I don't know.
I'm gonna give a hint to you right now. So I'm not sure whether the Teklo Kassai match will be even out this week. It might be like a filler episode in between weeks. But one of your favourite cards, well, not one of your favourite cards, one of your most the cards that were rubbish basically appears in that matchup.
Yeah. I mean, there are some like actual trash cards that I could see come in for like a matchup like that, just because.
What do you think it is?
I mean, there are some. I mean, since you mentioned it and knowing the matchup, it's either Aether Sync or the Rusted Relic, which is funny because it is actually like a trash card. It's just like an item that doesn't do anything, gives you AB1 and doesn't even have Go Again. So it's like the only thing you do, and it's like, I guess I got AB1.
Yep.
But in a deck like Teklo that doesn't have any arcane barrier at all, I can see it making a difference. Like getting the AB1 against Runeblade makes a lot of sense because you only need one usually.
That's what we need. Yeah.
Especially with Briarband, so you don't have Rosetta Thorn, so you don't have to even worry about the two from the Rosetta Thorn. So yeah, just AB1 is like pretty good.
Yeah.
So you're forced to use absolute trash cards like the Rusted Relic, which I, back in the day, opening first edition Arcane Rising, when it was the only version of Arcane Rising, I opened up so many freaking Rusted Relics. I was so annoyed, dude, because it was just like, I'm trying to get cards to make decks, and it's just like, keep opening Rusted Relics, and it's like, I don't need this crap.
Rusty Relics,
like, I would have like nine Rusted Relics. Anyone need a first edition Rusted Relics? Hit me up. I got a bunch.
Brilliant. But yeah, that's a bit of a spoiler alert for that game, because a Rusted Relic does appear very early on, and it's a strange interaction.
Maybe that match will make the price of Rusted Relic spike, and I could sell money.
Let's go! The league that means nothing makes Rusted Relic spike. That'd be a tale to tell, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Thanks for joining me today. It's been fun having you on casting Azalea and seeing some of your spoiler cards come up of spoiler cards of old and all this. So. But yeah.
Yeah. Apologies for not having every single heavy hitters card memorized. I'll be honest. I just don't. The set's new, and I haven't really put in the work to memorize them all. So it is what it is. But it's still fun to do the cast. And thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, no worries at all. And until next time, we'll see you all over again to do the league that means absolutely nothing next week as well. Cheers.